In celebration of the upcoming May 4th release of Avengers Infinity War, I recently began a weekly series of reviews for movies set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Last week, I did a review of Thor: The Dark World, so let's move on to the next entry in the MCU, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Going after him's a dead end, I know, I've tried. Like you said, he's a ghost story.
Well, let's find out what the ghost wants.
While on a routine rescue mission with S.H.I.E.L.D., Steve Rogers realizes that the organization is hiding a dark secret. While on the run, Rogers must team up with fellow Avenger Black Widow and a new friend, Sam Wilson, to uncover the truth behind the evil conspiracy from within S.H.I.E.L.D., all the while being hunted down by the mysterious Winter Soldier, a deadly assassin Rogers recognizes from his past. Now admittedly, I was pretty nervous about this movie before I got to see it. Sure, the trailers look cool, but I mean, can you blame me though? Both of the other Phase 2 movies weren't all that great, and Cap himself wasn't exactly treated all that well by Joss Whedon. Seriously, who makes a character like Captain America look so weak and actually thinks stepping outside in an outfit like that is a good idea? But thankfully, that all went away as soon as the movie started up and we got to see Cap kicking all kinds of ass. God damn, I love this movie. Seriously, this is without a doubt my absolute favorite Marvel movie of all time. I mean, this is the type of thing I was hoping I'd get to see in both Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World. It takes the best parts of the last movie and it makes them even better, while also improving on the parts that either didn't work as well or had to move to the side to make room for other details. And holy shit, does this movie do that well. I don't think anybody can really disagree that The Winter Soldier has some of the best action, acting, music, tone, story, all that stuff that we've ever seen in any Marvel movie to date. Speaking of, I love the plot we get in this movie. I remember hearing from somebody around the time The Winter Soldier was in theaters that this movie is essentially a conspiracy / spy thriller, like a Jason Bourne movie with superheroes in it, and even after rewatching it for the billionth time, I still think that's the best description for this movie that I've ever heard. You have a nearly unbeatable super spy running around trying to uncover the secrets of the shady organization trying to silence him, all the while punching people in the face. By this point, I'm just surprised Chris Evans didn't have a scene where he's complaining about all the amnesia he's been dealing with.
I know the best place to look for a gun is the cab of the gray truck outside. How can I know that and not know who I am?
Even the two big twists in The Winter Soldier are awesome and are perfectly executed, and they even take seemingly unrelated moments from earlier MCU movies and make way more sense out of them. Without spoiling anything, let's just say that I now get why somebody would immediately jump straight to launching a nuke at a civilian population during an invasion. Hell, the twists were so good, they actually made a crappy TV show watchable with a single tie-in episode. If that's not great writing, then I don't know what is. Honestly, I don't think I can come up with a single serious complaint about this movie. So let's just resort to every armchair critic's favorite activity, nitpicking. I personally think it's disappointing that there's this kind of romance built up between Steve and Natasha in this movie, but it's never really carried on in the rest of the MCU and really only gets referenced like once.
No, Natasha, she likes to flirt.
I've seen her flirt. Up close.
What do you mean up close?
I mean, come on, Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson have great chemistry here. They clearly have fun together whenever they have to share a scene, and both Cap and Black Widow are very comfortable being around each other. Makes way more sense than her getting stuck with Banner for no reason, and I'd argue a relationship between Cap and Black Widow makes way more sense than one between her and Hawkeye, which also wasn't really referenced after it was brought up. And what's with Steve going to Sam Wilson for help? As much as I like the character, I thought Anthony Mackie delivered a great performance. Steve literally only talked to the guy like twice. What made him think Sam was the perfect guy to help him take down the organization pulling the Winter Soldier strings? And on a completely unrelated note, am I the only one who thought it was a little disappointing that Alexander Pierce isn't the Red Skull in disguise? I mean, come on, look at him. I don't care how he acts, this dude just looks like a pretty shady dude, am I right? Seriously though, the Red Skull's worn masks and disguised himself as politicians in the past in the comics, and something like this was done very well in an episode of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Sure, you'd have to rewrite some things, maybe take a little while to explain what all happened to Schmidt after he disappeared in the last movie, and change the entire end action sequence, but I still think it could have been awesome. And what's with that Martha moment between Cap and the Winter Soldier? At least it's offset by the fact that they knew each other way back when. Batman and Superman just had moms with the same first name.
Save Martha! Why did you say that name?
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Moving on, I thought the action in this movie is amazing. I still don't think we've seen Cap at the level he is in The Winter Soldier in any other MCU movie to date. Like in the other movies, yeah, he was tough, yeah, he knew some fighting techniques, but he really wasn't the type of character you were dying to see fight somebody just to see him pull out some creative method to take out an opponent or something. This time though, Cap is f***ing awesome. All those flips through the air, mastering that shield bounce, and casually shattering spines. I love it. And easily Easily the best fight scene in the entire movie comes when Steve comes face to face with the Winter Soldier himself on the highway. Seriously, the moves these two were pulling out, the fact that the Winter Soldier's skilled enough to disarm Captain America, and those sick ass knife tricks, on top of the fact that it had great music, not too many cuts or too much shaky cam, and that the knife tricks were done in real life, no CGI needed.
Stop. My penis can only get so erect.
I'd argue that no fight scene in the MCU comes close to this level of awesomeness. Although I will say the hallway fight from the first season of Daredevil is a pretty solid contender. What's really cool though is that pretty much every character has a pretty decent moment to shine in this movie. Brock Rumlow, Black Widow, Sam Wilson, hell, even surprised Maria Hill had a pretty fun kick-ass moment. And I didn't think she could do anything but make her line sound as forced as possible.
Sir, the Hulk will tear this place apart! Anyone on the deck? We have a rogue bird. We need to shut it down. Repeat, takeoff is not authorized.
One of the better action scenes from the supporting cast comes from Sam Jackson's Nick Fury when he has to go through an extended car chase throughout the streets of Washington, D.C. He kicks so much ass, it's so cool. And a big part of what made that scene so awesome was the performance we got out of Sam Jackson. Now there were literally amazing performances all around, but Chris Evans' Steve Rogers is practically a scene stealer. Like, he makes Cap feel more layered, going from this Boy Scout type of guy in the first Avenger and the Avengers to somebody who's struggling with finding his place in what, to him, is a very strange foreign world.
For as long as I can remember, I just wanted to do what was right. I guess I'm not quite sure what that is anymore.
You even get to see the beginnings of the beliefs that'll shape Cap's eventual nomad identity, which I thought was pretty cool. And like I mentioned in my Avengers review, I'm really glad the Man Out of Time stuff was cut or somewhat ignored in that movie and saved for this one. It gives us more time to understand the inner turmoil Cap's dealing with, and because of that, we get these great scenes like when he visits his own wing in the Smithsonian, like actually getting to see the legacy that he left behind and kind of feel his impact on the world. And even better is the scene when he visits the elderly Peggy Carter. It's so sad knowing Steve realized that he missed out on so much of what should have been his life at the end of the war, but also trying to come to terms with the fact that it's now in the past and there's really nothing he can do about it. Overall, in my opinion, this is the perfect Marvel movie, or at the very least the best one I've reviewed in this series so far. The action's fantastic, the story is excellent, and it sets things up perfectly for future movies like Age of Ultron and Civil War. Even the effects were awesome, like the CGI that did need to be used didn't come off like weird or rubbery or anything like that. It actually looked great. If you don't already own a copy of this movie, I highly recommend you pick one up ASAP, or at the very least record this on a DVR or something like that. How else are you going to be able to fall in love with this movie and rewatch it a ton if you don't have continuous access to it? But anyways guys, that's my take on Captain America the Winter Soldier. If you guys agreed with anything I've said in this review, or maybe you have your own thoughts about something I didn't mention here, then go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, then go ahead and click that like button, and if you're new, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button too. I've also got links to my Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Patreon in the description. You should probably check those out too. And if you want to see more of my content, then you can click the link to my last video. It's right there in the middle of your screen. Alright, and I will see you all next time.